Hello everybody, my name is Dee and welcome to Books and Quirks. Today I'm here to do the spooky book tag. So I was so happy to be tagged by Stacy over at Stacy's Story for this. It's the perfect Halloween tag, and I will put her information as well as the original down below. The original was by the Book Pusher, and I will leave both of their channels down below, as well as the questions. So number 1 says Corn Maze. What book had you confused and got lost in from the very beginning? And I'm going to go with the recent book that I read. The recent book that I read that I was lost from beginning to end almost was Lincoln in the Bardo by George Saunders. Now, I'm not going to talk much about this book because I haven't even really done a review yet. Still need to do that. But this book, I was lost. A lot of it, the entire book was told through dialogue, and a lot of it was just a lot of different people talking and not even talking to each other. It's about Lincoln's son Will after he died, and the whole book takes place in one night in the graveyard with a bunch of other ghosts, dozens of ghosts that are talking. You know, I listened to part of it in the audiobook, and there are 166 narrators. Like, it's literally told through different like, some characters just speak a couple of words, some a couple of sentences, some, you know, speak a paragraph. It's just, and not even all of them are talking to each other. So yes, definitely was lost for most of this book. Number 2 says Haunted House. What book has the creepiest setting? Okay, so books that have the creepiest setting usually take place in, like, maybe a place with a lot of dark woods, or like a dark remote castle or building. I'm going to go with a classic here. I'm going to go with Dracula's Castle in Transylvania in Bram Stoker's famous book. Bram Stoker was a master at this book, at just creating that atmospheric setting. You know, it was in a really remote area. Of course, it was Dracula's castle. All kinds of creepiness and everything in there. So yes, I'm definitely going to go with that classic for that question. Number 3 says Ghost Boyfriend. What is your eternal book boyfriend? And I have 2 that I can mention: a classic book boyfriend from a classic and a book boyfriend from a more recent series, but I feel like I've beat these series dead because I've talked about them in all my videos, but I love them. So the first one is one that I've said many times, and it's of course Mr. Darcy from Pride and Prejudice. Will always love him till my dying day. And in a more recent series in the past few years, Matthew from A Discovery of Witches. Oh, just perfect book boyfriends, perfect fictional crushes. Number 4 says Caramel Apple Suckers. What is the best dang Halloween book ever? Now, there are a lot of great books, and I am a fan of Stephen King. I know he's not for everybody, but I am a fan of his. I was more a fan of his as a teenager. I've read through, like, I don't know, a dozen of his books in one year one time. But yes, I think I'm going to go with The Stand, though. The Stand I actually read a few years ago, and I absolutely loved it. I've seen the miniseries. There was a miniseries that came out in 1994, and I've seen it on TV quite a few times, and I read the book, and the miniseries is very true to the story, and it's 1,400 pages of just creepiness and wonderfulness. So I'm just going to say that that's the best book for me personally. Number 5 says Vampires and Everything. What is your least favorite Hollywood, oh my gosh, Halloween trope? Now for this one, I don't really think I have a least favorite. I like everything Halloween. I love vampires and werewolves and ghosts and all of those, you know, basic things that you have in most spooky stories. So yeah, I don't think I have a least favorite, so I'm just going to say that for this question. Number 6 says Evil Incarnate, the most evil villain. Now, I don't know if any of you have ever read the book Misery, Or maybe you've seen the movie Misery. I've both read the book and have seen the movie. The movie, I think, was made in the mid-90s, maybe. I don't know. I have to look it up. But that Annie Wilkes is the main character of that book. And she basically kidnaps and tortures a writer. And it is just so creepy, especially as the book goes on. I mean, it just gets, the creepiness just goes up a notch with every page that you turn. And it's just so wonderful, but creepy and scary. So Annie Wilkes, to me, is like the best villain. Even through all of the horrible villains and all of the horrible, creepy, scary books that you can choose from, I'm still gonna, I think, go with Annie Wilkes because I will never forget her character. Number 7 says Ouija Board, a book that messes with things that you don't want to be involved in. This was another hard one, kind of like, you know, my least favorite Hollywood trope thing. I really don't have a book that I wouldn't want to be involved in. I don't mind reading books about anything scary, at least in the month of October, and the only thing I could think of is maybe zombies. I've read a couple zombie books that I really like, but they're not my favorite, and I definitely wouldn't want to be involved in something like The Walking Dead. I know that's a TV show and not a book, but definitely something that I don't really enjoy. I think I liked The Walking Dead for the first couple seasons, but then it just got too crazy. So yeah, definitely zombies probably is my least favorite. Number 8 says full moon. What character do you turn into in a full moon? Now, I guess the classic answer is probably a werewolf because werewolves turn into werewolves during the full moon. But if I could choose anything, I'm going to go with a witch. I am fascinated by witches. I love witches, and I don't know, I would want to be a witch for the night, be able to perform spells and maybe even fly and do all the crazy basic witchy things. So yes, I think I'd want to turn into a witch if I had a choice. Okay, number 9 says All Hallows Eve. The other world and this world have meshed for one night. What book would you love to be swept up in? So I don't know about this question because I want to be swept up in any book that I pick up, but I'm going to choose a book that's coming out very soon that I hope to be swept up in, and that is the 3rd installment of Libba Bray's Diviner series. It's coming out in October, and I think the first week in October, and I cannot wait to get that and see how the series continues. It's supposed to be 4 books eventually, but yes, the 3rd book to that series, I cannot wait, and I can't recall the name of it right now, The Devil something or other. The devil is in it or in you or something like that. I'll put it down below after I look it up. Number 10 says Voodoo Doll. What author would you love to take control of and make them write anything that you want? This question I can't really answer because I don't know if I would want to take control of any author. The only thing I could think of is maybe taking control of an author that wrote a book that I didn't like or didn't like the ending to, and maybe have them rewrite it or something. But I don't know, taking control of an author, I guess any one of my favorite authors that I love, and they could just write more fantastic fiction for me to read. Number 11, Black Cat. What red flags do you look for when first starting out a book? So the only red flag that I look for, I mean, I'm basically up for anything, but the only red flag that I look for is if the book has a heavy religious element in it, like a heavy element of Christianity, but even this, it depends on the book. I grew up in a very heavy, very strict religious household, Catholic household, more so than just your average family that goes to Sunday Mass. And yeah, it kind of put me off things. I won't go into details, but I don't know. I kind of recoil a little bit if it has a big element of religion or Christianity or Catholicism, um, or just a heavy presence of God. If that is a big theme in the book, I'm probably not going to be reading it. Now, I should say that I don't mind if the characters are religious. I just don't want it to be a heavy theme in the book, and I don't want it to be kind of pushed down my throat in a way. So yes, that is my answer for that question. Number 12 says Witch's Brew, a book that had a lot of different components in it, but the result was magical. And I'm going to go with the Soulless trilogy by the Soulless series. Sorry, it's 5 books by Gail Carriger. This is an adult fantasy series, but it has so many different components. It is steampunk, it is fantasy, it is paranormal, it has all kinds of you know, werewolves and vampires and even preternatural, I can't remember now how you call it. But this book has all kinds of crazy elements, but the result for me was magical. It's a popular fantasy series if you like paranormal. It also has romance in it. If you like fantasy, I would definitely give Soulless a try. It's the first book in a 5-book series. I flew through these books. I absolutely adored them. Read them a couple of years ago, and I do plan on rereading those pretty soon now that some time has passed. But yes, I absolutely adore this series. She also has a YA series, but the adult series is, you know, top notch for me. And the final question says tag people. So I know a lot of people don't prefer kind of spooky things, so I'm just going to say that if you love Halloween and if you want to do this tag, I officially tag you. I would love to see other people do this tag. I think it's just a fun tag for October, even if you don't like spooky things. So if you want to do this tag, please do it. Please do it in the month of October, and then tell me so that I can make sure that I watch it. And yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this tag. I really enjoyed doing it. And thank you so much, Stacey, for tagging me. And remember, I will leave all of the information in the description below. But that is all I have for you for this tag. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you all very, very soon. Bye.